Okay, so now that you've entered your customer and supplier contact details, we're going to come on to question 4 and we're going to start amending our nominal codes. Okay, so you'll see here this is exactly the same thing we've been doing in Sage. We have revenue from different sort of sales, products and services. So we just want to analyse our revenue streams further by entering or adding these extra nominal codes within revenue. So if we come back to Xero, and remember, just go into settings and select your chart of accounts. Once in the chart of accounts, just be aware of what your, again, which nominal codes relate to revenue, but you have been given them in the question. So we're going to, first of all, add the account. Okay, now, slightly different screen from Sage, but if we go into account type, first of all, we select the drop-down menu. It's going to be a revenue account. Okay, so we're going to select revenue, and now we need to enter the nominal code that we're going to use. Okay, according to the question, we're going to use 201. Okay, and then we just need to put in a name. Okay, and the name is going to be new builds. Okay, and then we can put in a description. Okay. Now once you've done that, I just want you to save. Okay, and then we can just add the next one. Again, another revenue account. This time the nominal code will be 202. Okay, and save. Now it does give you the option to put these nominal codes onto the dashboard, etc. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to save. Okay, moving on to question 5, we're now going to start entering our customer invoices and credit notes. Okay, so to access the customer ledger, if you go to Accounts, and then on the drop-down menu, select Sales. Okay, that will bring you into this screen. We now want to add a new invoice. So if you select New, you'll see here we have a drop-down menu where we can select Invoice, Repeat Invoice, Credit Note. Now we're going to select Invoice. And once you have the invoice screen up, we can start entering the details for our first sales invoice. Okay, now it's going to be to the Harrisons. And the date is actually going to be the 1st of January 2013. Okay. And we're going to say it's going to be due. We want them to pay us by the 1st of February 2013. Actually, let's make that the 31st of January 2013. Okay. We then just need to enter the invoice number. which is 6451. Okay, and coming down, we haven't actually set up items. We're just going to enter description. Okay, in items we could set up sort of different categories, but we're just going to set up enter the description. Okay. The quantity will say 1 for now. Okay, now we need to enter the unit price. So just to remember that it does say that the amounts are inclusive of VAT. So we're going to need to calculate the net. Okay, there's no option here. There's no actual option here to calculate the net, whereas Xero will calculate the net for you. So you would just have to do that manually. Okay, and now we're just going to select the account. Now it's for loft conversions, so if we look at our revenue, okay, we select loft conversions there. Okay, now we've got 20%. If it doesn't automatically come up, then you can go into the drop down menu and just select 20% VAT on income. Okay, and that should give your total of 4,700. So just check that that is correct. Check that against the actual invoice. Okay, and then you just want to approve. Now you'll note here, because you've given yourself financial advisor status, you can approve invoices at will. If, for example, the person was only able to enter the invoices, they would only have the save option. So you can save that and then leave it for somebody else to approve, to check and approve later. But we're just going to approve. So if you select approve, okay, the invoice will then come up, invoice approved. And what you see down here is make a payment. So when that customer pays you, you can actually go in and allocate. Remember, we were allocating monies received and payments made through the bank in Sage. Well, here we can allocate monies received to the invoice by entering the amounts here. Okay, but we'll look at that when we come on to entering payments and receipts. Okay, so now we can just go invoice options. And we could actually just edit that invoice. Actually, sorry, we'd make a copy. So effectively, if a lot of the details were the same on the next invoice, we could copy that invoice and then just amend it to save us entering all the details again. Or alternatively, we want to add another invoice. So if we add another invoice, we can then go down to the next one. But actually the next invoice is for Harrison's. So I think we just make a copy of that one. Okay, and you'll see it comes up with sort of the account again, so that saves you having to type in the same account again. The date we'll need to enter, which is the 20th of January. Okay, let's make the due date the 19th of February. Okay, the invoice number is 6452. And the sale this time is actually for painting and decorating. So we just want to change the description. Okay, remember you'll need to calculate the net for the new amount. Okay, so again we'll need to select the painting and decorating revenue code. So let's have a look here, we have painting and decorating. Okay, it is 20% VAT. Okay, and again just check your total against the invoice and approve. Okay, now the next invoice is again for the Harrisons. So again, just to save you entering the details again, we can just make a copy of that one. So let's just copy that. Okay, we need to enter our dates. So it's 25th of January. Okay, we'll make that due on the 24th of February. Invoice number 6453. Okay, now it is again for painting and decorating. Okay, we're going to have to calculate the net. Okay, so we can just leave it at painting and decorating because this invoice again is for painting and decorating. Okay, and again, just check your total against the invoice and approve. Okay, so the next invoice is actually for Nice Day Designs, so we can just add another invoice. Okay, now we're going to enter the new name, Nice Day Designs. Okay, let's enter the dates. Okay, and we'll make that due on the 1st of February. Just need to enter our invoice number. Okay, now description is going to be painting and decorating. Okay, so just again, remember you need to calculate the net, check your total against the invoice, check that you've selected the correct nominal code, and once that's been done, then you can approve. Now it's really up to you whether you want to copy that invoice or add new. So yeah, the next invoice is for not the same company, Nice Day Designs, so you can either copy that one or you can just add another invoice. I'll leave that up to you as to what you prefer. So if you just carry on entering the invoices there, we'll then come back when we're going to enter a credit note. So if you just want to pause the video and finish entering the customer invoices, we will then be entering the credit note next. Okay, so we've entered the invoices. We now just want to go back to sales, and we're now going to enter a credit note. Okay, back in sales, if we now just select the drop-down menu and select credit note, we can enter the credit note for the Harrisons. Right, so the new credit note screen will come up, and we can just enter it in the same way as we normally do. Xero will remember the accounts, so as you start to type in various account names, the next time you type it in it will remember, so it will be prompted. Okay, the date of the credit note here is 30th of January. Okay, our credit number is actually C45. Okay, again we're going to have to calculate the net. Okay, and just remember to select the correct nominal code. Okay, check the total is correct against the credit note that you have, and then approve. Okay, now you will then be given this screen, allocate the credit balance. Now here we're effectively able to allocate straight away this credit to an invoice. So we'll add it. We're not actually told which invoice it relates to, we're just going to add it to invoice 6451. So I'm going to allocate £60 there, and then we can just allocate the credit. Actually, I'm just going to change that. We're going to change that. We'll allocate it to 6453 instead. Okay, so just make sure that you've allocated the £60 credit to invoice 6453 and then select allocate credit. You will then be told that the credit has been allocated and you can continue. Okay, so moving on to question 6, we're now going to enter the invoices and credit notes for our supplier accounts. Okay, so now we just want to go into our purchases account. So if you select purchases from the accounts drop-down menu, we can then, in the same way as we did with our sales invoices, we can select a new bill in this instance. Okay, once we've got our new bill up, we can then start to enter the details. Okay, remembering always that these amounts that we're given are inclusive of that, we now just need to enter the nominal code. Okay, this is going to be a direct expense. And just check that the total is correct. You'll notice here also Xero gives you the option to upload the actual invoice. So you can scan and actually attach the invoice here for your records, so it can be maintained electronically. Okay, so once that bill has been approved and it's been posted to the accounts, you can then add another bill, or in the same way as we did with the sales invoices, we could copy that invoice if there's information on there that's the same, just to save us retyping it. But just be careful that you do always check that the amounts and nominal codes are correct. So I'm actually just going to add another bill for this example. So coming on to the next supplier invoice, Satin Magnolia. Okay, so again it's a direct expense, so we just need to set the number code 325. The VAT rate is 20%. Okay, and check the total. Okay, I'm going to approve that invoice. Now, if you just want to carry on and post the remaining 3 invoices, we will then move on to the next question. Okay, so now that you've entered the remaining invoices, we're now just going to enter the credit note. So again, just go back to purchases, and within the new option we can select credit note. Okay, so again in the same way we can just enter now the details for that credit note for Satin Magnolia. And you'll see here we're actually told that this is an overcharge on invoice 987. So we'll be able to allocate this credit note to invoice 987. Right, the date is 26th of January. And the reference is C 563. Okay, again, remember to calculate the net, select the correct nominal code, and just check your totals. So in the same way as when you entered the credit note on the sales ledger, here on the supplier ledger, the purchase ledger, again it's giving you the option to allocate that credit note of 1175. Now we're told that it's an overcharge on invoice 987, so we can just enter the amount here, 1175, against the invoice 987. So we just want to allocate that credit. Okay, so we can now see that credit has been allocated to the invoice 987.